Hi guys, hi, hello, welcome back. What we are going to be talking about today is we're going to quickly touch base with our dynastic cycle, which we talked about yesterday, and then we're going to move on because the Shang dynasty, the second and the more, I guess, large-scale dynasty, does fall to the dynastic cycle, just like every dynasty we're going to talk about, and is going to be replaced by the Zhou dynasty. Again, I'm going to try my best to pronounce it correctly in the original Chinese dialect. I can tell you right now that I'll probably mispronounce things, and I apologize in advance for that, but just try my best. And again, today is similar to yesterday. It's just notes, getting kind of a foundation. Tomorrow, we're going to be moving on to a bit more of a proactive approach to things with our dynasty, or not our dynasty, our philosophy talk. You'll have an assignment tomorrow to get us started with Unit 4. So with that said and done, you should grab your notebooks out and we're going to dive in. So before we get too far into your notes, you already should have drawn a little diagram of the dynastic cycle. And the basic breakdown, without all of the details, of course, is the fact that a new dynasty is going to claim the mandate of heaven. We talked yesterday what the mandate of heaven was. I'll have some more information on it in the next slide. After the mandate of heaven, the dynasty will be fine, do good things, and then stop doing good things, start to age, start to fall apart, and then finally it becomes an old dynasty and it loses the mandate of heaven and a new group comes forward. The reason that this whole process kind of was created, it gave justification to overthrowing ineffective rulers. It accomplished, followed by, it's always kind of summed up, there's accomplishments, good things that happen in a dynasty, and then it's followed up with a period of decline and revolution. This is, like I said, not specific to China, not new. We've talked about how civilizations rise and fall naturally all the time. This just, of course, is looking at the dynasties and using language specific to the Chinese dynasties of this time. So making sure you have that information, it'll connect to the dynastic cycle in your key terms. Okay, so after the Shang dynasty ended in fighting and, well, basically decline, we're going to see that the Zhou dynasty is going to be next. And this is the longest lasting dynasty of all of Chinese history. It's going to last from about 1045 BCE to 256 BCE. This is a huge amount of time to have the same ruling family just kind of changing hands as people die and born, so on and so forth. And as far as what this dynasty looks like, there isn't a lot of reinventing the wheel. The basics are pretty much the same as the Shang dynasty. There is a kingdom divided up into territories that the king appoints various different landowning wealthy individuals to be in control of. The Shang, again, from the Shang to the Zhou, we did see this is where the mandate of heaven is created. The idea here is that heaven kept order in the universe through the king. So whatever king is in charge of China is a link between heaven and earth. They have been given permission from the heavens, and this is not necessarily a god. This is not monotheistic religion. It's still polytheistic, but the heavens themselves have granted power to the king, to the family, dynasty being family, and the king is the go-between between heaven and earth. And when a dynasty claims the mandate of heaven, they're going to rule by authority of command, this mandate, that the gods or the heavens want them to be in control. It's important to keep in mind that this mandate does not mean the king is a god. It's not. It's just a representative of a go-between, the lackey of the heavens to make sure. When it comes right down to it, this gives a lot of power behind that idea, so much so that if something bad happens to the people of China, there's a natural disaster or there's a bad harvest, it's easy to place all the blame on the king, because if the king was doing a good job, if they still held favor with heaven, that wouldn't have happened. So it basically guarantees to the people of China that if something bad happens, it's the king's fault and they can overthrow them. they can get rid of them. This is a really interesting concept to be built into the fundamentals of the people of China. This idea that if something is wrong, that it is expected of the people to overthrow them, to find someone new or a new family to kind of take control if the mandate of heaven is lost by those in control at that time. Like I said, very interesting, kind of a cool, special item that is different in China than it is in a lot of other places. So when we talk about the Zhou dynasty, again, the social structure, pretty straightforward. Nothing too revolutionary here. There's the king who rules the land. Again, they gift land to the aristocracy and the lords. So there's kind of like that, again, upper class. And then there's peasants who work the land. Each peasant family was basically granted a piece of land with which they had to work, and then what they created or what they harvested would be given to the aristocracy and the lord, and then of course in turn given to the king. And sometimes peasants worked on big communal lands, farms all together to be able to support the lord and the kings themselves. There also is merchants and artisans, which would work directly under the lords. This is, like I said, pretty much not reinventing the wheel. The Shang had a very similar breakdown as far as society goes. The merchants and artisans usually would work in small towns. An important social element that develops in the Zhou dynasty is this idea of filial piety. Filial piety is another one of those fundamental pieces of Chinese society that does not go away. With this idea, it revolves around the idea of responsibility to your family, and that there are members of your family you're all subordinate to, under, responsible for the needs and desires of the male head of the family. This is, of course, making sure that the social breakdown of China is not revolutionary in any way. And man is in charge, and the people who are younger are going to be, again, subordinate. They have to listen to and support those who are older. And again, it's always going to go older is better than younger. Men are better than women. So that's sort of the most basic breakdown here. Everyone has a role to fulfill, and we've got males who are responsible for providing the food and the money for families, and women are responsible for raising the kids. And those are the ideas that are passed down from family to family to family. And it's something that to this day you can still see in the way that Chinese families operate. So it all falls apart. Okay. The Zhou dynasty is going to become an aging dynasty through a series of rulers that are intellectually and morally not great. A civil war will break out. It's a time period known in Chinese history as the period of warring states, between various different strong territories and the overall king of the Zhou dynasty at that time. This period of warring states is really, it's unique as it's a turning point in warfare in China. Things have become much more technologically advanced. The introduction of iron tools, cavalry, crossbows. This right here, this fighting saw way more deaths than any of the fighting before this. Again, the casualty counts are way up, way up. It's a very bloody time in China. Just like all of these dynasties, we're going to spend a few moments at one point or another talking about accomplishments, things that they're known for, as far as that stuff goes. So the Zhou dynasty, being a very long dynasty, saw the development of a lot of various different items, the advancement of certain tools like plows, the introduction of irrigation canals to be able to take that land that wasn't suitable for farming and make it suitable for farming. So this is adapting to the environment. A big one, and one which is still known with China to this day, is silk production. Silk will become a luxury item that helps to support the trade in China. It's a very popular and highly sought after material that the rest of the world is going to become obsessed with at one point. Of course, during this time period, we also are going to be able to see the development of the original Chinese language, and the written version of it. I apologize. The written version of the Chinese language. And I'm sure you're very aware that Chinese and other Asian languages look very different to that of English and other Indo-European languages because of the type of alphabet that they utilize. They do not use letters, they use pictographs, which are symbols and characters, and ideographs, which are where you layer them on top of each other. So instead of having a 26-letter alphabet, they have thousands and thousands of different symbols which represent various words and sounds, and they can be layered on top of each other to create new words, so on and so forth. It's very complex. If you're interested in learning more about the Chinese language, I definitely go out there. There's lots of really cool places and resources you can find. Um, and that's it. That's it for the day. You can put your notebooks away. Again, what you've got for homework, like I said, I'm not going to assign anything new yet. You'll have new notes tomorrow. You'll have your first assignment of Unit 4. As far as work you could be doing right now, if you wanted to get ahead of things, is you could start working on your Unit 4 study aid. Remember, you're only using the options that are on Classroom, and make sure that, again, to lessen the workload, just do a couple every day. Again, we're going to cover a few key terms every day or every other day. It should not take you hours to complete your study aid if you do 5 minutes every day and to get 1 or 2 different key terms done. There's only 21 key terms in this unit, so again, just keep on top of it. Remember, it's about the details, and of course, why is something important? The why is it important? That's up to you to come up with. Make sure you're thinking about it carefully. We'll be checking your study aid that work is getting done by the 13th. More details on that later. I hope you guys have a good day.